I'm really excited to share this episode with you because it's about how to establish flexible and healthy boundaries in the workplace. In my coaching practice of over 25 years, this is one of the most pressing concerns for so many of you, which is how do you even start? So, if you're curious and you've grappled with establishing flexible and healthy boundaries in the workplace, you're going to want to tune in. Let's drop in.
Welcome to Asian Like Me, presented by me, Dr. Sohee Jun, the podcast for the modern Asian woman redefining what it means to thrive. I've spent years navigating the complexities of culture, family expectations, and career ambitions. Here, we have real, unfiltered conversations with incredible women who are breaking barriers, charting their own paths, and owning their power. Together, we'll dive into the wins, the lessons, and the challenges we all face. And yeah, we'll laugh. We'll share stories and drop some actionable tips to help you crush it in your own way. This is your space to feel seen, heard, and inspired. Ready to rewrite the rules? Let's drop in.
So this episode, I want to reinforce this phrase, and I'm saying this very intentionally. It's how to establish healthy boundaries because our workplace is where we spend most of the time. And that means that we are around people and we are with teams and we are interacting in matrixed organizations. We need to influence people. We also have families, people that we come home to. Or even if you don't have a family, perhaps you have commitments outside of your work life that pulls your energy. I think the reframe around boundaries is how to establish healthy boundaries. And so I'm going to give you my definition of what I mean by healthy boundaries, because I think that this reframe around boundaries and what I'll introduce to you allows us to step into it with more grace, with more ease, and a little less stress. Because the last thing I want you to do is add more stress about not getting something right, too. And that is not the point of this episode. I also have had my own share of burnout, and I've talked a lot about this in my other solo episodes. So if you're interested, go back to my January drop and my February drop, where I share a little bit more about the sabbatical and why I took it and all the ways that burnout hit me hard or I hit it. And my own experience has been that I was saying yes a lot without looking at my load already, without really giving that much consideration to what I was already doing in the work world, caring for my coaching clients, speaking, the writing, in addition to caring for my kids, in addition to my friends, and everything else under the sun. I was saying yes because, well, I'll be honest. It was part FOMO. We've heard that, fear of missing out. It was part scarcity mindset. It was also part interest and desire to do the things. And look, if you know me, I'm one that is deeply curious and deeply interested in so many things. So it's partly driven by that. And it's also partly driven by people pleasing. So in my own experience with burnout, there were a lot of threads, a lot of factors and variables that were driving me to say yes. And I think that that is really important to acknowledge because it's never just one thing. And when we look at, okay, what are the factors that keep me saying yes without honoring my own priorities, we have to acknowledge all of the amalgamation of things at play. So as I said, for me, it was part scarcity, part FOMO, part, oh my God, that sounds really interesting and something that I want to do and learn or be a part of or add to my resume or fill in the blank, and also part people pleasing. That's a lot of stuff. And when I looked at it, I was saying yes because of all of these things, and it was taking my energy, and I wasn't really diving into the time that it will take. So for me, that was a big piece of really sitting down and getting clear about the time that the task, the whatever I said yes to will take, because I was so quick to say yes. I didn't realize, oh, maybe this week I have 5 really important meetings with my clients. I'm also delivering a speech. I have a parent-teacher meeting. I'm also trying to work out as well. So will I have the energy to honor the task that I want to do for the other person and to do it well? So the energy and the time will take, and all of that was missing for me and driving me to burnout. And it really left me depleted. It left me angry sometimes and sometimes resentful, and also at times mad at myself. So, if this feels true for you right now as you're listening, you're going to want to keep listening, because I'm going to show you and share with you how to start to really move into establishing healthy boundaries. And I want to define that for you. Healthy boundaries is about having the scaffolding. And I love this word because I'm a visual thinker. And if you think about a scaffolding, it's like the things that hold up, for example, a building. So healthy boundaries, how I define it, is about having the scaffolding to make decisions. And it's not completely rigid. It's flexible and realistic to maintain. And it doesn't shame us, or we don't do the internal walk of shame if we don't hold it up all the time. So let me go back again to really defining healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries is about having the scaffolding to make decisions. It's not completely rigid, and it's flexible and realistic to maintain. And it doesn't leave you doing the walk of shame if you didn't uphold it. Here's some more data too that I want to add in terms of why I'm doing this solo drop. I did a recent keynote for a really large healthcare company, and I did a real-time pulse of the over 100 participants that attended virtually. And I asked them, what's the area in which you feel the most depleted? And they said that by far and away, it was the mental and psychological load. I'm wondering if you're surprised by that. And perhaps you're saying, yes, me too. It's the mental and psychological load that was the number one thing that was depleting them. So again, this is why I feel it's so critical to talk about how we establish healthy boundaries so that we can honor the things that are important to us. Let's get into it. All right. So in order to start establishing healthy boundaries, we really have to look at the mental and emotional load, or really it's the mental and emotional energy, the energy cost. I think that many of us, myself included, forget to factor that in. So if I'm in a week where I feel really depleted, I haven't slept, and I haven't been moving my body, what I say yes to is going to take more out of me. And so for high achievers, I know that this is not factored in. And when we do, it's a critical unlock to preventing burnout, mental and emotional energy. That is the cost these days. It's less about the doing of things. It's the mental load. It's the emotional load. And this cost, the energy that goes into it, that's the cost that we have to really contend with. It's a key aspect that high achievers do not factor in. So you might be like, yes, this is so me. How do I start to establish healthy boundaries? I'm going to give you the steps. I want to make it easy for you. And here are the steps. The first thing, step number 1, I need you to write this down. And if you're listening and on a walk, or if you're driving, come back to this. I need you to say, let me get back to you. Or the other phrase that you can add in your toolkit is, let me think about it. So anytime a new request comes in, a new task, a new to-do, a new whatever from your coworker, from your boss, from your partner, from your friend, from your mother, your dad, your whoever, fill in the blank. Anytime you get a new ask of you, I need you to stop. In fact, take a deep breath because that deep breath allows us to tap into our executive functioning versus from a triggered state. So take a deep breath. And step number one, say, let me get back to you, or let me think about it. And in saying this, it gives you permission to pause, to short circuit the automatic desire to say yes. Because high achievers and people that do a lot are in the conditioned habit of saying yes. It's the muscle that is like really overworked. So to short circuit that repetitive behavior, breathe and add these two phrases and keep saying it to yourself. And when a request comes in, step number one, you say, let me get back to you, or let me think about it. And again, this is the permission that you're giving yourself to pause. The second step is when you are able to sit down and really look at the request, I want you to look at it in terms of these factors. So take the request and look at it against your current load. And by current load, I mean, look at the workload. So what are you already committed to at work? That's the first thing. The second thing is your family. What are the other commitments that you have that you've said yes to already? And going back to the family thing, if you have a family and if you have kids or you're caregiving for elders or others that may be grandparents or relatives, look at that load as well. All of these things have to be factored in. For me, I have a master calendar, and I've come into the habit of looking at my master calendar so that I can really look at it realistically. And so here, after you've done that, that might be a full stop no. You've looked at your load and you're already fully committed at work. And those are important things to you that you've committed to. You've already committed to being the baseball coach for your kids, and perhaps you're a member of a board outside of work. That's a full load. So maybe when you look at it against this, that's a full stop no to the additional ask. So you stop there. Or if you feel like after you've looked at your load, you're like, you know what? I might be interested. Then I want you to get to the third step, which is to ask yourself, is this an aligned priority? If it is, then cool, commit. Say you can go back and say, yeah, I'll do that, or I'd be happy to take that on. If it isn't an aligned priority, then you can go back and say, look, at this time, I'm overcommitted. Thank you for asking, and I'm not able to do that at this time. So that's another phrase that you can put in your toolkit. And then going back to if it is something that is a task or an activity that you want to take on, the other piece to this is to ask yourself, okay, then do I need to drop something? Because if we keep adding, again, that is what amounts to burnout and sensory overload, emotional, psychological overload. So is there something else that you can drop? Okay, so that was the steps. And this is kind of like the pre-step. I'm going to go back to it, which is like taking a deep breath. Again, that allows us to access our frontal cortex, our executive functioning, and get into a moment where we pause. So step one, you respond to that person or request and you say, let me get back to you, or let me think about that. And then you step two, review the request against your current load at work with your family and our kids or caregiving activities, or if none of those apply, your other commitments outside of work. So then maybe that's a full no. And if it still leaves you considering it, the third step is to ask yourself, is this an aligned priority? If it's not, then you drop it. You go back and say, thank you for considering me, or thank at this time I'm overcommitted. Or if it is an aligned priority, you say, cool, I'm going to do that. The last step is to drop something, take something off your calendar. So that is the practice. Those are the steps. And this is the recipe for establishing healthy boundaries, because healthy boundaries are ones that have, again, that light scaffolding, the framework by which you can make decisions, right? I just gave you the framework. And it allows you to take into consideration the nuance, the plot twists that life throws at us. And I think that oftentimes when we think about boundaries, it's either a binary yes or no, or, I have to always honor this, fill in the blank. And And I think that that is a huge disservice. So the way to establishing healthy boundaries is through the steps I showed you. So, if you enjoyed this episode and you found the framework valuable, then I'm going to invite you to sign up for my monthly newsletter. Every month, I provide the same really actionable tips and frameworks that you can start to use ASAP. So go to my website, www.soheejunphd.com, to sign up because I promise you, you're going to be like, why didn't I do this sooner? And you'll be the first to know about something I'm really excited about putting out this summer. It's my summer learning series, and I'm putting out two really very asked for sessions. One is around entrepreneurship. How do you start? How do you grow? And how do you sustain a successful business? And the other mini learning series is around my keynote topic of unlocking unshakable core confidence. I'm breaking it up into bite sized pieces and learning moments where you're going to learn how to, in essence, get out of your own way. So you'll learn all about these when you sign up for my newsletter. Go to my website, www.soheejunphd.com, sign up so that you can be the first to know. And if you haven't yet, thank you for listening. And I'm going to ask you to leave a review and to follow because I am committed to bringing much more meaningful and inspiring conversations. Until then, be well.